Welcome, everybody, to the American Space Museum. We're so glad that you joined us for this episode of Stay Curious. I'm Marquette, and as you know, we are under a hurricane situation here on the Space Coast, but the show must go on today as we're preparing our museum on the east coast of the Florida Peninsula. Looking forward to the west coast getting slammed by Hurricane Ian, but it's going to affect us greatly here. So we will be closed tomorrow, Wednesday, the 28th, Thursday, the 29th, and Friday. 3 days we're going to be closed, so that will be no Stay Curious, but that'll give Marty and me a lot of time to get some shows lined up for you and catch up on some of the community liaison tasks that I do. But we've got a great show for you today. A couple astronaut birthdays. Look at some preparations going on at the Kennedy Visitors Complex for what is predicted to be high winds and 5 to 10 inches of rain. The Artemis spacecraft is with the Orion spacecraft on it. The Artemis SLS rocket's been pulled in to the vehicle assembly building. And my co-producer, Marty Winkle, is in the house running our Streamlabs computer. Hi, Marty.
Hello, Mark. How are you?
Great. Marty and I are meeting each other and going out to the Kennedy Visitors Complex to see the astronaut of the day. Marty, I took this picture. Tell everybody what's behind me here on this beautiful scene.
Some of our Hall of Famers. Astronaut Hall of Famers.
Yep, sponsored by Boeing, we got to say. And who's the statue behind me there?
Good question. Is that Al Shepard?
Yep, that's Mr. Al Shepard, the first American in space. Some Richard Truly's over off my shoulder with Rick Houck. And then you see across the way there the beautiful tribute to our Hall of Fame astronauts. Those are your Gemini and Apollo heroes across there. The way there, how they're reflected in the polished floors. It's just a wonderful tribute. And I know our good friends are watching, Mark and Tom Usiak. And as a photographer, guys, you can't take too many pictures in this place. This is a gorgeous photo exhibit for the photographer like me. And we were in there today. We went out to see Jose Hernandez. All right, let me push the button there. First, we want to tell you about our Cosmic Masquerade Ball is a go. There, I'm getting shot by the laser there. Saturday, October 22nd at Beachside Hotel, featuring DJ Titan and a magician, Wayne Gauntz. He's going to be a lot of fun. Costume contest, all right? And it's $125 a person, tables of 8 for $800. So, yes, it's a little over 3 weeks away. We've been planning this for 2 years, canceled twice by COVID. Again, we're getting out of the chute a little bit slow because of, situations here at our nonprofit with people being out for various things. And then the hurricane hits. But we are going to pull this Cosmic Masquerade Ball off. Astronauts, aliens, and cosmic creatures. Thank you, Marcia Gadke, for your artwork here on this poster to promote it. And we're proud to be co-sponsored by the Brevard Humane Society. They will operate the silent auction and receive all the proceeds for their furry creatures. So we think that cosmic aliens and fur babies will make a great fit to make this an annual fundraising event for the American Space Museum. That is Saturday, October 22nd, 2022. If you would want to spend $125 and not be there to contribute to our nonprofit, you will still be in on any of the drawings that we would have there. So we're looking forward to this, huh, Marty? You got your costume picked out?
I picked it out and bought it 2 years ago.
Did you really? I know what you told me you were going to be. And Marty, I know what Marty's going to be, and it's awesome. Frankly, I have no idea what I'm going to be. You think I should be what, Marty?
I think it should be Albert Einstein.
Albert Einstein, all right. That's good. I could just go as George Jetson and shave my beard, I guess. But we'll see about that. That might be fun, Marty. I could get to put egg whites in my hair again and make it go out and everything like I did in the old punk rock days of the 70s and 80s. Like I did that right. Anyway, I keep moving away from our wonderful little gal there that shoot me in the back of the head. But yes, people have ordered their costumes over 2 years ago for this. Beachside Hotel is an awesome 50-year-old iconic place on A1A in Cocoa Beach, right beside Ron John's surf shop. Many of you may have eaten at the IHOP across the street from it. So looking forward to having some fun. And our target is 200 people to show up, and then we'll be very happy. And this is a serious fundraiser for our museum, and we're happy to partner with Brevard Humane Society and all they do for the fur critters. And that's a big issue right now, of course, with the hurricane bearing down. Well, Marty, we went out and enjoyed astronaut Jose Hernandez. There is Mr. Nick Enix introducing Jose, and we took a picture of
Not Nick Enix.
Nick Thomas. Yes, thank you. Nick Enix is our collection manager. That will not be the first time I make that mistake. Nick Thomas there. We had him on yesterday. Any show that Nick Thomas is on, you can better believe that he's got some one-of-a-kind stories to tell about astronauts. And Marty, he stuck around for an hour after the show and told more stories in there. But there's Mr. Hernandez. He was 10 years old, a migrant worker with his family in Stockton, California is where he grew up. And what he told his dad at age 10, this is the story he told, that Apollo 17, 50 years ago, he was 10 years old in December 72. It was on TV. He went up to adjust the rabbit ears on the TV to get a better reception. And that night he told his father he was going to grow up and be an astronaut. And his dad, instead of just saying, yes, son, of course, everybody wants to be an astronaut. This is 1972. His dad took him into the kitchen, sat him down. He said the kitchen was where serious stuff happened in his Hispanic family. The meals, the homework, the discipline. So when he was sent to the kitchen before bed, he wondered if he's going to get his paddle in for saying he wanted to be an astronaut. And no, his dad told him 5 things that he wanted him to do: to be aware of where you come from, study hard, and several other things. And really, I thought that was very cool, Marty, that little part of his story. What did you take away from astronaut Hernandez today?
Well, just that story he told about what his dad spoke to him about. One of the things was, where you are today. Where are you relative to where you want to be? And then lay out a plan to get there. I thought that was very insightful.
Yeah. His dad, he said his dad had a 3rd grade education before he went into migrant fields. How many was in his family? 5 or 6, I'm sure.
3.
Oh, 3. Yeah, that's right. He had the 3 brothers there. Brother and sister. And his dad was encouraged. You know what he said, Marty, that impressed me? He said, my dad said, okay, you can be an astronaut, and encouraged me. How many of us out there just needed that little push from a family member to reaffirm that what your dream was, you could do? And that's what his dad told him. He was on STS-128. In fact, he flew our friend Nikki Stott up to her expedition stint up on the International Space Station, and he now has come full circle from the migrant farms as a youth in Stockton, California. By the way, he landed 80 miles from his home when Discovery, I think, was the spaceship with 128 took, and he said he was 80 miles from those fields. Stockton, yeah. 128 was Discovery in August 2009, according to fetching my shuttle scroll here. But full circle, he is a wine farmer, has a winery, has his own wine company, and he also has his own nonprofit, and he ran for Congress out in California. He got defeated, but he is only 50 years old, and this is a man that's going to make a further impact on our world there. Jose Hernandez, just one of the many. Every week there's 2 or 3 different astronauts out there that you can talk about. Do a little plug for Delaware North there, and our Nick Thomas there. Anna Fisher is going to be out there starting September 29th, September 2nd. I'm sure that'll be a hurricane possibility that could get scrubbed. October 2nd, sorry. October 3rd through 6th, Don Thomas is going to be out there. He's an Ohionaut. Charlie Walker is going to be out there the 7th through the 10th of October. John Harrington, the 11th through 16th. Rick Heeb, 17th through 21st. Mark Lee, 22 through 25. Bob Thirst, Canadian astronaut, 26 through 29. And John Bartow. He'll be out there on Halloween Eve and Halloween Day. I'm going to go out there and see him because he did a Stay Curious program with us, one of the early scientists on an early shuttle mission. I think it was 51D. So anyway, love being out there. Took a few other pictures out there. The clouds rolling in. They have those tethered off there. That was my thought, Marty. If they kept the SLS out there, why don't they just pound some guy wires into it like a tent and on each side, and so it would stay out there rigid? I mean, I'm not being silly. That could be a technique to keep them out there. Instead of moving them in, just tether them down to the ground. You don't think about that's a good idea, Marty?
No, because where do you drill the holes on the vehicle?
Well, that's a good point there, where you put the eye loops out there for it, and would they be aerodynamic and all? So backwards shot there. Okay, out there's our beautiful Hall of Fame, and I'm out there taking some pictures to show that they'd taken the umbrellas down. This is the little luncheon area we're looking at the gift shop. And the big NASA golf ball there, I guess is what we call it. And there is that young man with the backpack there. That is, I just was thinking of his name, Marty.
Tyler?
Yeah, Tyler. And Tyler is an educator out there who got let go with a whole bunch of them. And he had to go back to his home in West Virginia. And Tyler, 2 years ago, is who I thought would inherit the role of host of Stay Curious program. I was grooming him for that, and then he left so quickly. But Tyler, good to see you out there, and we'll get you back in here. In fact, we'll have him on Stay Curious. He's going to be around for 6 weeks, and I want to get him on Stay Curious. He's a solar system ambassador and does outreach. Had a bunch of kids from Brazil out there, and we were trying to chase down Jefferson Michaelis, who's in town, who's done a Stay Curious program about his outreach, and we'll get with him maybe the beginning of next week. There's another one that could do a show for us, because I'm going to be on vacation next week. I'm kind of hedging around that, but I'm taking a vacation to see a grandbaby in Tennessee and my mom in Ohio. And so I'm going to be out of the state for a good 9-10 days, and we're lining up some guest hosts for you. And Tyler might be a good one to sit in for me here, Marty. We'll check that out. Well, we got the hurricane behind us. Like I said, I didn't mention this. Hey, Doug Forrest is here in the building. Hi, Doug. Doug's sitting over there in our Stay Curious studios. He's stranded here, folks. He had a plane out of here when? Yesterday? Got canceled tomorrow. And Orlando flights are canceled.
Might be going out of Miami.
And he's trying to go out of Miami. And so he's not alone. There's a lot of stranded travelers here. This being the middle of the week. Good Doug, who's a beautiful pen and pencil artist. I guess pencil artist, what we want to say. We did a program on him, on his Apollo imagery. But like so many workers, he's got a job to get back to in California, and his boss doesn't understand hurricanes in California like we do in Florida, does he, Dougie? He talked to everything's good. Just trying to get you in more trouble. All right. But Marty, you got any comment about this hurricane? You've lived here, you know all about them. We're not really freaked out about it over here right now. Marty?
I don't have any real comments. I'm just going to wait and ride it out. It shouldn't be too bad around here. We'll get a lot of rain, some wind, but shouldn't be much damage. We should be fine.
Right, but to be safe, we're going to cover some important things in our museum. And it just takes a tree line down or a power line for any of our employees to be stranded and not get into work. So we're going to be closed for 3 days. No Stay Curious. We'll post some extra stuff on Facebook for you all. And then the next Facebook you're going to see after today will be next Monday when Nick Thomas will guest host for me. And we already talked about Nick's program. You're not going to want to miss next week. So though I'll miss you, I might pop in from the road there once in a while. But again, that's always a logistic nightmare to get Trekkie Techie and everyone involved in. So we will hope that you stay curious enough that you'll hang with us on this little interlude. Well, Marty, we do have a couple birthdays today, and this is an important young lady. Stephanie Diane Wilson was born September 27th, 1966 in Boston, Massachusetts, growing up in Pittsfield, Massachusetts. That makes her 56 years young today. She flew on 3 space shuttle missions, STS-121 in 2006, STS-120 in 2007, and STS-131 in 2010. She was a mission specialist. She's the second African American to go to space after Mae Jemison, and her 42 days in space is the most time in space by any African American astronaut until Jessica Watkins took occupancy up on the International Space Station. I know she's been up there longer than 42 days on her 6th month. Wilson graduated from Taconic High School in Pittsfield, Massachusetts. She's a Harvard graduate and also master's in science and aerospace engineering from the University of Texas. And she is a member of the Harvard Board of Overseers. So, and we're going to see more about Stephanie Wilson because she is one of 9 women who are Artemis astronauts, all right? Who do I have behind me that I'm blocking out? That's her. All right, so good. I'm blocking her out. The next Artemis astronaut going up is Jasmine Mogbili there. And I think it's Nicole Mann's next. That's right. Nicole Mann is the next one going up on Space X Dragon 5, due to launch October 3rd. Hadn't been keeping up with that fluid situation there with the weather. But 2 women and 2 men are going up to the space station for the next Expedition 68 crew. And one of the other women is the 5th Russian woman to go to space. Out of 69 women, and Nicole will make 70, and the other Russian lady will make 71 women out of 580, that'd be 592 people will have gone to space when those 2 newcomers go up. Of the 69 current women, only 4 are Russian, and over 50 are American. So happy birthday, Stephanie Wilson. And who is going to be the first woman on the moon? It's going to be one of these 9 women, okay? Or is it? Because you've been hearing me say they're pushing back this Artemis moon landing to 2025 or 2026. And I'm thinking there's a shot that China could land on the moon with a man and a woman before America does. Think about it. They got a very ambitious space station, a woman and 2 men up there. We have a record-setting 13 humans orbiting the Earth right now. That's the most ever. That's the 4th time we've had that many orbiting the Earth, and 10 on the International Space Station. And 3 of them are due to come back. The 3 Russians are due to come back in Kazakhstan, I think, in a day or 2, around October 1st or 2nd. Well, one of our big, Christopher Mick, has a birthday today. Happy birthday to you, Christopher Mick. He's been in our Space Museum, and there he is with one of the Kellys. I'm going to say that's probably Scott, because Mark usually has a mustache. But are you looking at it? Doug Forrest says, that's Scott for sure. But Doug, thank you for supporting the American Space Museum. He is an outreach astronomy educator in Madison, Wisconsin. And happy birthday to you, young man. He does a lot of outreach as Solar System Ambassador. And we need to, next time you're in town, make sure you bring an extra suitcase so I can send back some swag with you there. But this is a picture of myself in 1995, it says up there, when my hair was dark. Oh my gosh. And I've got some planets, apparently the Earth and Venus or something in my hand there, and the young girl there is holding up Saturn with its rings, and the boy's got Jupiter. My friend Bill McKee took that picture in 1995. Whew, boy, I bet I still have the sport coat. I know if I do, I can still fit in it. So, yeah, Marty, comment.
Yeah, Dave Stang had a poor comment. First, he says Marty can make an appearance, but Marty needs to work the computer, the Streamlabs, so that's out. But his other comment was better. He says, my wife said Larry and I can co-host. He means guest host.
Who?
Dave Stange.
Oh, have Dave guest host?
Yeah.
Remotely?
He said, I don't know. He says Larry and I can co-host.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Larry and you could co-host. Yeah. Come on down. We'll set you down here. We could maybe do that on a Google Meets or something like that, but we'll look into that. This was the last time I took a vacation. I don't think we had. Yeah, we did have Stay Curious a year ago when I left there, and I did some remotes from the road, and that worked out pretty good too. But yeah, I'm bragging that. Yep, just like Christopher Mick, I've done my share of outreach, and there he is. Happy birthday to you, Christopher Mick. Hope you're having a good day today, wherever you're out there in Wisconsin. And we have birthday on September 29th, when we won't be on air. Bill Nelson. Clarence William Nelson was born September 29th, 1942 in Miami, Florida. So yes, our NASA administrator and one-time shuttle flyer is going to be 80 years old. There he is when he did his flight in 1986, January. That was the mission before the Challenger disaster on STS-61C. He was the second sitting member of Congress to fly. Yes, we have Bill Nelson's handprints here in our museum. He was at an event at Charlie Mars when he was harvesting a couple, I think, Sally Rides, and there were other astronauts there, and he couldn't leave him out. I'm glad he didn't. Bill Nelson considers himself, quote, a space passenger. And in 1988, Nelson published a book about his spaceflight experience entitled Mission: An American Congressman's Voyage to Space. And among his bronze hands, we have a collection, more than 30 of them, scattering Spaceview Park in our proud Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo and Shuttle galleries out there. So we do wish Mr. Bill Nelson a happy 80th birthday on September 29th. Doing a good job. He's number one in charge. Then we have Pam Melroy. She's the assistant administrator. Of course, she was the second female pilot and then a commander of a space shuttle behind Eileen Collins. And then we have Bob Cabana, who is the third deputy director of NASA. And Bob Cabana, of course, 12 years the administrator at the Kennedy Visitors Complex. Everybody knows Bob and loves him.
Center, not Visitor Center.
Right, well, that too. He was Kennedy Visitors, over Kennedy Space Center, and ad hoc that would make him over the Visitors Complex. But yeah, his big job, of course, is the big facility out there. And he was there. I don't have a picture of him to put up. I should have done that. But yeah, Bob Cabana will be known for being there when the Kennedy Space Center was transitioned into private enterprise use. Well, our shuttles of September are slipping away from us here on the 28th. We're glad that you all love following our shuttles. 11 shuttles of September. And among them, trying trying to find my cheat sheet real quick, is we had 2 missions to the Mir, the first and the last missions of September, 79 and 86 were to the Mir space station. And then we had 2 hard hat missions, 106 and 115, 5 science payloads, a TDRS tracking data relay station, very important to all NASA communication orbiting the Earth, and a space lab. And we hate to say it that we had Mikey Haddad all geared up to do our show on Space Lab on STS-47, but because we're going to be closed, Mikey's going to do his program on October, what's October, the first Thursday in October? That'll be the 5th. So Mikey's going to guest host and do his program, and Marty will be here helping him do that. So we love our shuttles of September. 65 astronauts, 60 women, 5 of them are women, so 60 men and 5 women, 105 days in space. Atlantis had 4 of those missions. Discovery 4 of those missions, and OV-105 Endeavor had 3 of the missions. No space flights in September of the 10 missions that Challenger had, or the missions of Columbia were in September. How many missions of Columbia have here? Consulting the scroll. That's something I should memorize, but 28 for Columbia. And of course, the leader is 39 of Discovery, OV-103, Orbital Vehicle 103. And we love it how they juxtaposed each other throughout the month. I'm working on our October shuttles now, so we'll spring that on you, maybe how many we have when I'm gone. But there's the 11 shuttles, and you notice that with the date line at the top, from the 16th to the 18th, I think, we had 8 shuttles orbiting the Earth throughout history, 51 humans on there. 4 of them were repeating, actually 55 humans in space, of the 65 astronauts that could say they orbited the Earth in the month of September. So thank you all for some comments. I met some people. The Finks, they particularly enjoy looking at this chart. There are some errors on it, some typos. We're trying to revise this. We being my executive director, Karan, Conklin, and myself, to turn this into something that maybe we could put it in a booklet form one day. Well, a little close-up of the 3 missions that end the month is we launched on the 25th of 1997, STS-86, and it docked with the Mir space station today in space history. All right. And exchanged the crew of David Wolf was taken up, and brought back was Jerry Lininger. All right. Wendy Lawrence, the woman, was supposed to be left there, but she was actually too short for the spacesuits, and they had to imagine that you're too short to do a spacewalk on the Mir space station, and you have to be able to do that for what the mission entailed. So she didn't get to stay on the Mir, and then she went up another time also and visited the Mir on another show. So that's always exciting. And then we had any other details about that? They had the first joint Russian and American EVA during this mission by Titov and Perezinski. And that's historic. Think of how many times they participated since 1997 doing these spacewalks. 35 years later, we're always out doing a spacewalk with a Russian or an ESA astronaut. And then 7 crewmen, 19-day mission there. And then the next space shuttle launch, of course, will be the 29th. We were going to talk a lot about this. Mark and Tom UCX sent us some beautiful photographs of the walkout, the crew on the tarmac after the T-38 jets landed and the launch, and we'll be posting those on Facebook because this mission, talk about heroes, okay. These brave NASA crew returned to space astronauts of STS-26 were launched at 11:37 September 29th, 1988. That'll be 34 years ago, Marty. And that was a big moment for your 40 or 50 employees under you and the launch processing service computer area there. Did you all have your lump in your throat when STS-26 launched?
I think we had a lump in the throat for every launch.
Okay. Well, that's a good way to put it there. This was the first mission with an all-veteran crew since Apollo 11 in 1969. All right, 1988 to 1969, we never had a full crew that was all veterans. Think about that. It was commanded by Fred Houck, who's now 81, piloted by Dick Covey, who's now 76, and those mission specialists were John Lounge, and he's passed away, and Pinky Nelson, 72 years old now, and David Hilmars is 72. And they restored the shuttle numbering system to STS-26 after those crazy 51A and B and so forth that were more of an accounting procedure to track the orbiters. Covey, the pilot, was the Capcom operator during the STS-51 launch, during the fateful 51 launch, and he uttered the words "Challenger, go at throttle up," and then moments later the orbiter exploded. And so we will be talking a lot about that on our Facebook page here tomorrow. And then the last mission of September is STS-68. And look how simple this mission patch is. It's only got their artist Doug Forrest in our room here. You got the globe of the Earth. That's one element. You got the outline of the SRL is a very interesting space radar lab. This is where the payload was mostly pointing down to Earth, like the orbiter shows there, and doing this radar band that they could see over Africa's traces of ancient civilizations in the sand and so forth. And then the only other elements you have are the flags on the other side. So it's basically a 4-element artistic thing there, not very complex at all, yet gets the point across. And got to meet Mike Baker, the commander of this space flight. He really enjoyed sharing about the geography of this mission. It was a tremendous geography lesson out the astronaut encounter that Mike Baker gives. So go out there next time he's out here and see that. So we love pointing out just not the history of the missions, but meaning behind the patches and try to humanize these astronauts a little bit more. And that's why Marty and I are going out there and seeing as many of the astronauts of the day that we can. And they're just fascinating. We appreciate watching today. Mark Usiak, Dave Stange, William Whiting, Tom Usiak, Robert Law, Darby Phillips Miller. Hey, Darby, great to see you, young lady. Bruno Lacordone, Cynthia Rossi, another outstanding follower, just like Keith Sewell. Great to see you the other day, Keith. Can't wait to get behind some telescopes and start wearing out Jupiter and Mars here in the next month or so. Daniel DeYoung, thank you, buddy. And Carlton Bailey watching. He was in the house yesterday. So we're grateful that to have all these friends watching us on Stay Curious, and there's others out there that watch and don't necessarily chime in all the time. Gary Gerald's one. You remember Gary, the farmer from North Carolina, or South Carolina, excuse me, Gary, but he's about getting off his tractor right now, and he loves watching Stay Curious if he's back home from the beach. He and his lovely wife have been vacationing down here. And Gary Gerald, thank you for staying curious with us. So, all right, Marty, we have any house cleaning to do?
Yep.
All right, well, here is again our our Masquerade ball there. And thank you, Marcia Gadke, for putting this beautiful, effective poster together for us. A big event that now we'll start promoting, and we might have some ways for you to tie in at a lower level than $125 if some of you want to kick in and help our fundraiser here, a charity fundraiser, our Cosmic Masquerade Ball. And I guarantee you, when it's over, you will see a picture of Marty's costume. All right. I can't wait myself. So, all right, Marty, thank you for a wonderful day. And Doug Forrest, thank you for being here at the American Space Museum. We're grateful for everybody out there that supports us. That's why we're shutting down for a couple of days, because we don't want anyone to get hurt. This is a serious situation in so many levels, these hurricanes, not just the wind, but the high water. And then you got the down tree lines and power lines. Any of those things could affect anybody's life at any moment. So we know and appreciate all the prayers and thoughts that are coming our way from you out there in our Stay Curious world. So, well, I'm going to be off for a while, so I guess I'll say until the next time we meet, I'm Mark Marquette, and I can't wait to see you again to bridge the space between us.